Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're looking at this new puzzle from the Times, which has the difficulty rating Ultra Fiendish. So this is a step beyond their Super Fiendish puzzles, and I suspect is an attempt by the Times to reclaim the mantle of the hardest sudoku from the Telegraph and its diabolical puzzles. There was a fascinating pull-out in the paper today. Featured articles on solving Sudoku by Tom Collier, and some of you I think will have seen the video that we've got on the channel by Tom, where he talks in detail about the methods he uses. So that was great to see. But also these really hard puzzles. Now I'm going to take a look at this Ultra Fiendish one in a moment and see how difficult it is. And if I get time later, I'll also take a look at one of the ultra deadly killer Sudokus that they've published to celebrate this anniversary of their 10,000th puzzle. That certainly I'm expecting to be very interesting too. But without further ado, let's take a look at this. I've actually got a number. I think that's got to be a 5. Let's put that in. It's quite an interesting shaped puzzle. You can see there's this diamond pattern of numbers in the middle, and then just the 4 corners as well, and this crossing here. Okay. Well, something I've just noticed here, if we look at the middle row of the grid, we have an 8 and a 4. And if we look at the 9th column of the grid, we have an 8 and a 4. Now those numbers have quite an effect on this 3x3 box. They're going to allow us to put some pencil marks in. So I think the only places that an 8 and a 4 can now go in this box are in these 2 positions. So remember, as usual, the pencil mark or notation that I'll be using here is if a number can only go in 2 places in a 3x3 box, then I will make these small pencil marks to reflect that fact. Now, can I use that to make any more progress? Now you can see that's going to allow me to make pencil marked 2s, like in those 2 positions, but I can't see what else to do with that really. It's frustrating. Pencil mark some 3s in over here. Like that. In fact, we've got a similar arrangement here with 3s and 6s. Look, we've got 3s and 6s in column 3 and 3s and 6s in row 4. And they're interacting on this 3x3 box to force a pair of 3s and 6s like this. And that's annoying. You can see with this the interaction of this 1 here and now, this 3x3 box. The 1 is going to be forced over into column 3. And that means the 1 in this 3x3 box needs to be in column 2, and therefore we can pencil mark in 1s in those 2 positions. Okay. Can we do anything clever? There's lots of these odd pencil marks that I don't really like. These, you can see it again here. I'm about to sneeze, so I'm going to have to pause. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, these odd pencil marks, they don't really do anything for me in terms of the solve. We just have to persevere and see what else we can get. Oh, ooh. Okay, yeah. Look again. This 3x3 box. We have a 6 and a 9 here, and a 6 and a 9 here, which means that there's only 2 positions where a 6 and a 9 can go in this box. And what is going on with the cursor? In one of those 2 positions. Now, what to do next? Have a 4 4 here and a 4 in column 5 here. That's going to allow us to pencil mark 4s like that. Annoyingly, I can't get any more 4s over here. I've actually got a naked 9 here. Look, there's where does the 9 go in this central 3x3 box? There's only one cell. That's that one. Put that in. 9. Allows us to pencil mark 9s into these two positions. Okay, I might have seen something here. One moment. There's, I think I'm right in saying, sorry, I'm being very slow here and inarticulate, but I'm trying to study the pattern of this grid. There are very few places that 9s can go in row 1. It can go here, and it can go here. That's it. And if you look at the same thing in row 9, because of this sort of strange pattern around the edges, the 9 can go here and here only. So there is an X-wing on 9s. This isn't strictly in accordance with my notation, but I will just mark it in just so that it's apparent to everyone what I'm talking about. There's a 9, 9, 9. So this is the arrangement I'm looking at, and I'm wondering whether this allows me to make any progress. So just to remind everybody, what this means is that either in the final solution, either there will be a 9 here and a 9 here, or there will be a 9 here and a 9 here. Now, whichever way those 9s turn out to be, this means that in these two columns here, there can't be any other 9s. So what cells does that affect? That's the interesting question here, because if this has been a cleverly designed puzzle, and it probably has been, it's this sort of anniversary puzzle, there's only one cell that discovering this X-wing actually matters for, and that's this cell. So I am very tempted to study this cell hard. I wonder what this cell... I mean, this cell is certainly affected by the 4 and the 8 here, this double. So we know that we've got 3, 5, 6, 7 and 9 to find. Now we already have a 3 here. So this cell can only be 5, 6 or 7 now, because we can eliminate the 3 because of this, and we can eliminate the 9 because of the X-wing. So how on earth can that matter? I'm going to study this column a bit more, if you don't mind, just for a minute. So 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. So this cell is very restricted. This can only be a 3 or a 5. But look, I've missed something here. There's a 3 here and a 3 here and a 3 here. So this cell here has to be a 3. That is interesting. Why? Because that means this cell actually can only be a 5 or a 7. So if I can eliminate the 6 from this cell somehow, we are starting to cook with gas. So how can I do that? I'm just going to pause the video while I look at this grid, just for a minute. okay. I might have spotted something here. Of course, we can put in the big 3 here. Let's do that. So, just to recap, what I'm trying to work on is just a hypothesis that if I get rid of a 6 in this cell, that's going to be really helpful because it's going to give me a double with this. And we worked so hard to get rid of the 9 in this cell that it feels like this cell is key to the solve of the puzzle. Now, if we study the pattern of 6s in this grid, you can see that in some columns, the positions that a 6 can take are very restricted indeed. So I want to look firstly at column 1. So where can a 6 go? And I'm going to break with my notation here, and I'm just going to put in a little 6 where a 6 can go. So it can't go here because of this 6. It can go here, and it can go here, I think. So only 2 positions in column 1. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to link the position of 6s with row 2 here. Because if I can find a restricted arrangement of 6s that affects this row, then I'm really starting to get somewhere. Row 5, 6 can go here, can't go here, can't go here, can go here. This could be a 6, which is fine actually. That goes with the position at one of the positions of the 6 I found in row or column 1. So I need 6s here. Let's look at column 9. Yeah, this can take a 6. This can't. This can't. This can't. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. There is a swordfish on 6s. Wow. So what have I? Well, sorry, I've been mumbling away while doing this video. It's very inarticulate. But if we look now at the positions that 6s can take in column 1, you can see it's just these 2 rows. In column 5, it's this cell and this cell. So row 2 and row 6. For column 1 it was row 6 and row 7, and then for column 9 it's just row 2 and row 7 again. So we have, if you like, 3 different columns where the places the 6s can go are restricted to exactly a subset of 3 different rows. Now this means that these rows will interact together, rows and columns will interact together to prevent any other 6s forming in rows 2, 6 and 7. And you may say, well, how does that work? And perhaps the easiest way is for me to try to show you. So let's imagine this cell here was a 6. What would the effect of that be? You can see that the first thing that would do is it would have an effect on column 9 and where the 6 could go in column 9. Column 9 6 could only go in this position now. And that in turn affects column 5. Because in column 5 now, the 6 can only go in this position here. So there would be a very sort of known pattern of 6s if the 6 was in this position. Now similarly, if the 6 was instead in this position, we get exactly the same effect in the sense that rows 2, 6 and 7, the 6s are taken up just by 6s in different positions. So if this was a 6, this would have to be a 6. And similarly, when we come here, we'd find this would be a 6. So again, in those 3 rows, the 6s would be complete. So we know that there can be no other 6s in rows 2, row 6 and row 7. And why does that matter? Well, this is why I was looking at 6s, is it affects this cell specifically. This cannot contain a 6, and watch what happens when we remove the 6 here. All of a sudden now we have a double in this column on 5 and 7. and that allows us to place in this cell a 3, because obviously now this cell cannot contain a 5. Surely there can't be more to this puzzle than that. So that's going to give us a 3 here, a 6 here, and I'm going to be quite surprised if that doesn't sort of completely blow the puzzle open. Let's see. So we now place those 2 down there. This is going to have to be 6 now. Sorry, using the tracker pad, I'm not very proficient at it, and you can see actually that's really very, very helpful now. That means this is going to have to be a 6 down here. That means this is going to have to be 6. This is going to be a 9. This is going to be a 9. This is the unwinding of our X-Wing, if you like. The fact that this car isn't a 9 means this is going to have to be a 9 by the X-Wing that we found earlier. So let's put that in. And remove this 9 now. Why is that not working? There we go. What can we do now? There has to be a 2 in one of these 2 positions. And the same over here. That cell 1, 2, 3, and that cell's got to be a 1. That's the only number that can go into this cell. You can see we need 1, 2, 3, and 5 to fill the column, and we already have a 2, 3, 5 all in row 6 already, so that's quite helpful. There's any more numbers, means we can pencil mark ones in there. In fact, we need 2, 3, and 5 there, so this cell here has to be a 5 by the same logic. Let's put that in. Yeah, I'm strongly suspecting this puzzle's now solved. I will go through the motions of just tidying up just to make absolutely sure, but I think if it becomes trivial, we don't need to spend longer on it. So now we need a 3 in this column. That can only go here. 3. That means this has to be a 3. This is a 1. One into these 2 cells here. Let's get rid of the 3 over here just to tidy up the notation. So this cell here has to be the 2. This is a 2. This is a 2. Yeah, it's done now. Means we can pencil mark 2s into these 2 cells, which gives us a 2, 9 double into these 2 cells. There's a couple of things that we can do with that. The first is obviously this 6 and 1 unwinds now. This has to be the 6. Because the 6 cannot go into this cell now. Which in turn means this has to be a 6. This has to be a 1. Position of the 1s here is locked into one of these 2 cells, which means this has to be a 1. Which means this is a 5. Of course, this is a 5, which you could have already deduced. That being the case, this has to be a 5, this has to be a 7, this has to be a 7. Yeah, and the puzzle's finished. So I think this was a great actually a great standard, I have to say. Well done to the Times for publishing something of this complexity. It was very interestingly designed as well. I don't know if it was deliberate. I don't know if they intended it to be, discovered the way I did discover it, which was to go from the X-Wing discovery into working hard on that 6. That felt like a handcrafted puzzle, I have to say. So all credit to them if that is the way that it was designed. It's really nice, and yeah, definitely something I welcome. So I hope you got something from the video too, and this was useful to your own solving. And we'll be back with more coverage, this sort of special edition of the Times and these hard puzzles, in a future video. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do subscribe. And see you again next time on Cracking the Cryptic.